I am my brother's keeper. And when you say the name Jacob Blake, make sure you say father, make sure you say cousin, make sure you say son, make sure you say uncle, but most importantly, make sure you say human. Human life. Let it marinate in your mouth, in your minds. A human life. Just like every single one of y'all and everywhere around the world. We're human. And his life matters. So many people have reached out to me telling me they're sorry that this happened to my family. Well, don't be sorry, because this has been happening to my family for a long time. Longer than I can account for. It happened to Emmett Till. Emmett Till is my family. Philando, Mike Brown, Sandra. This has been happening to my family. And I've shared tears for every single one of these people that it's happened to. This is nothing new. I'm not sad. I'm not sorry. I'm angry. And I'm tired. I haven't cried one time. I stopped crying years ago. I am numb. I have been watching police murder people that look like me for years. I'm also a Black History minor. So not only have I been watching it in the 30 years that I've been on this planet, but I've been watching it for years before we were even alive. I'm not sad. I don't want your pity. I want change.
Spawnable is the premier podcast spotlighting people of color. Every week, we talk news, what we've been playing, and tell you who's invited to the cookout. Our show is all about talking about gaming through a prism of blackness, because we are the culture. Welcome to Pikachulita, y'all.
Spawn on Me with Kahlief Adams. What the deal be? I hope you're all doing well here today. Thank you so much for coming through tonight. We have a wonderful, wonderful show. If you have not seen and not been a part of the Chicago family, going forward, now is a wonderful time to join us in a lot of dope conversations that we're going to have here tonight with you all. If you remember, back in June, we had, I would say, probably an industry-changing conversation that we had here on our show, in our show that we did, our episode that we had called A Lesson in Blackness. We are going to bring those magical, wonderful folks back with us here tonight so that we can reconvene. We can talk about how the industry has changed, how it hasn't changed, and talk about some of our experiences since that seminal and really important show. So without further ado, I'm super excited to bring back to the show all of our wonderful folks here. The man, the myth, the legend, Cameron Hawkins, Parris Lilly, Pikachulita, Blessing Adeoye Jr, and Zombaekillz. Thank you all so much for coming through tonight and coming back to the show to rep with us tonight. Again, thank you all for taking the time to bring your time and treasure to the show again this evening. So what the deal be, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I hope that you are all feeling okay. I kind of want to go around and first just say what's up to everybody and figure out like where you've been at, because it's been a really interesting couple of months since early June when we had our first show. Cam, I'm going to you first. How you been doing? How you been holding up with everything that's been going
on? Things have been a mixed bag for me personally. After our first Lesson of Blackness episode, myself as well as everyone else here got some pretty incredible opportunities in the gaming space, and which was amazing. Awesome stuff. Unfortunately, later on, like a little over a month ago, my dad unexpectedly passed away. So that was hard. Had to drop my life for 2 weeks to take care of him. But he's resting now, and I'm glad that everything's taken care of, and just trying to live my life through him in the best ways that I can. So and then outside of that, just kind of a lot of the same. Everything with Jacob Blake is really frustrating, and I'm looking forward to talking about a lot of different things, both in and out of the gaming industry. So,
word. Bless, I know you've been running around doing all the things you possibly can in the gaming industry. You have been on fire of late as well. How have you been since everything that's went down since the previous show?
Yeah, I've been decent. I think to kind of piggyback off of Cameron there, right? Like, I think a big part of that last episode was us talking about being in the games industry, but also like what it's like to be Black in the games industry and how to operate while being Black in the industry. And I think a thing that I want to emphasize coming off of that too is that even with us being Black and with us, being involved with what it means to be Black in the industry, life still happens. Like, Cameron is dealing with his father passing away, right? And with that, right, all of us are still dealing with COVID. All of us are still dealing with all the different things going on. There's a heat wave last week in SF, which is like the smallest of small things. But there's still so many things that affect how we operate. I know for me, from like March to June, that was kind of a rough area, like it was for all of us, right? Because that is kind of where things started to get real as far as how we started reacting to COVID and all that stuff. And so last episode, man, I was kind of in a place where I was very frustrated and also very just stressed with everything. And since then, like, I'm happy to say that I'm emotionally and just in general doing a lot better. I've been feeling really good lately. I'm doing pretty decent. Of course, bummed out by the events over the last week as far as Jacob Blake and all that stuff. But overall, I personally, I have been doing a bit better.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Pika, how have you been doing? Like, I have a thing to say before I go to you, Pika. Is I was a little bit. I don't know if I was going to do this episode, and I think I saw you talking online about all the things that have happened in Kenosha, and how you wanted to say things, but you felt like you didn't want to say it online because of the way that the online space kind of works. And that was, and I have to thank you for saying that out loud, because I think to me that was the impetus for us getting together tonight. It was knowing that we still need spaces to feel like we can have these conversations in real ways and get out these frustrations in a real way. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you for doing that and being honest and always sharing your heart online, because that means a lot. So I will ask you again, how are you doing? How are you holding up?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. It's nice to know that, I'm not alone in that regard, and that my honesty is very much appreciated, of course. It's weird because I tell everybody, I've had just so many different things like happen over the last couple of months. Things in my personal life are going wonderfully. Funny enough, not too soon after we, did this last episode, went through a lot of different things. I went through a breakup. I was hit with a lot of different things. And I am to the point now where I'm, moving forward. I'm finally I'm dating. I'm back sort of safely, of course, socializing, spending time with my loved ones, my family in a sort of safe capacity. There's been a lot of weekends where I have not been at home, and it feels good because I feel like I'm playing catch up after months of just being sort of isolated in my apartment. And it was something that I very much have needed, so I've been taking full advantage of it. And obviously just with kind of work related stuff, I've had a lot of cool stuff happening. I did recently, about a month or so ago, I did get partnered on Twitch. So that happened. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. So that happened. And then there's a lot of other different cool things sort of in the works kind of going on behind the scenes. And it seems like after we kind of reached the point where things kind of just started to die down with the last situation that brought us on the show, which was the George Floyd situation. Yeah. And then it turned around and, you know, stuff happened obviously with the Kenosha thing. And it just seems like we just can't catch a break, because the moment when, you know, we kind of finally, that sort of stuff starts to kind of fall out of the news cycle and things like that. And I mean, we're just kind of now seeing people sort of stop, cities and towns like stop kind of or slow down with like protests and things like that. Well, it's right back over again. So it's almost like we can't catch a break almost. And so I'm just still kind of it's just almost seems like it's back to back. Once I feel like I get a break from like what's sort of maybe going on in the world, I kind of get smacked with it again. So like I said, things in my personal life, wonderful. Everything going around me in the world feels like a dumpster fire, and I'm just trying to find balance in the midst of all that.
Yeah. I know how that feels for sure. Like, it's like, what in the hell else can go wrong in everything that's going on? Parris, you know, how are you doing? How have you been holding up?
I'm conflicted. I'll say this to start off the show the way you did with Jacob Blake's sister. What she said really hit me, like, in this moment. I don't need your pity. I need change. And those words hit heavy with me with everything that has been going on just over this entire year leading up to clearly one of the biggest days in American history, November 3rd, 2020. I feel guilt because my personal life is good. My family is good. My kids, wife, everything is good. In this bubble of suburbia where I am, my life is fine. But I feel guilt because even, you know, with the gaming stuff, since that last episode, a lot of positive things have happened for me personally, you know, as you know. And obviously that's great, of course. But I look at the real world and I look at what's going on. Like, I'll take it with the NBA and the bubble and everything that's been going on right now with them deciding not to play and what that means. It's, yes, I see the comments online, people are attacking them. Oh, you're rich. You're fine. That's great. But at the same time, you have to remember those brothers came from those neighborhoods that are still having these problems with the police. Right. I come from a neighborhood that still has problems with the police. So there's this weird guilt that I feel that why should my life be okay right now when I know my fellow brothers and sisters out there are hurting? And of course, Jesus wants to call while I'm talking. But it does make me feel guilty in that way because, you know, and President Obama said it best, you know, because it was on a podcast he was on recently. He talked about you can only affect the things that you can control. Right. So I feel helpless that there's things that are happening out there in the world right now that I can't control, that I don't have the influence or the power to, you know, to affect, to make change. Right. So it's weird because the world's on fire right now. And I can't take any pleasure in any personal success, knowing that the bigger picture right now. Because look, maybe I'm jumping way ahead. I'm tell you right now, if November 3rd goes a certain way, November 4th, I'm looking to get out of this country. I have told my wife this. I'm not playing. I'm dead serious because I can't live in a place that hates me. I can't live in a place that hates people like me. If you look at me and you don't look, you can like me if I'm an asshole, because I am, but don't hate me or my kids because we're a darker shade than you. Don't let the police keep killing us in these streets and you make excuses when a 17-year-old boy leaves another state to go, you know, to come to this town with the AR-15 and murders 2 people, right? You know, these are the kind of things that are happening in the world right now where I can't celebrate any personal success or feel good about that or easy because it's wrong. It's so wrong. And it's so frustrating trying to have conversations that to me is just be a good person, be logical. Stop making excuses for bad people. And I think that's where we are. And I'm kind of preaching now, so I'm going to shut up. But yeah, I'm just in this place of I want things to change, and I feel helpless about it.
Yeah, Zombae, how are you been holding up? I know it's been an interesting space for you too, because I've seen you have a lot of personal triumphs in the past couple of months, which has been fantastic to see. But I also know that you're, a Black woman in this world, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this space. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about where you're at and how you've been over the past couple months.
I wake up and I'm grateful every day, right? I'm grateful for pretty much every day. I could not have imagined having as much dope, cool opportunities that seem to be coming my way, and I'm so thankful for them. But, oh, whoops, is my mic off?
No,
Can you hear
good.
me now?
No,
we hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, good. But I think that every time you have a victory, you wonder how that victory fell into your lap, or you wonder how you got into a space that you're in, and you kind of double check the room to make sure like you're in that room for the right reasons. And so like I enjoy getting to be in the rooms I'm in, and I feel super hyper blessed to be in those rooms. But then I want to make sure that I'm in that room for the right reason. So like I get in that room and I'm like, who's in this room? Who's in here, and how did I get in here? And I want to make sure that I'm there of my own merit, or I'm there with people that want to see me succeed, not that people that want to use me for their own purposes and for their own gains to make themselves look legitimized for, finding somebody brown to have in the room with them so they can tick a box, or so that they can seem like they're being progressive. Because, getting me in a room is full of a lot of progressive shit. and if they don't know me before they get me in that room, they find out real fucking quick who I am. It's like real quick. And I'm just not the person that's going to let people use me for any sort of way. But if you do try to use me and you mess around and I could use you first, best believe I'll do it, because that's where I'm at. I don't believe, and it's hard because you want to be happy and you want to be ecstatic. I'm new in the game space. I haven't had time to get, properly seasoned up in this space. So I see it, and I know what this conversation that we had before, the impact that it had, because I'm able to live that impact in a very unique way, because I'm new here, and it's a really cool thing to see. But there's a huge gap as to where it needs to be. And I don't like saying things are performative, because everything, in fact, in life is pretty performative. If you think about it, everything's in exchange for something. But I want to make sure things keep happening. I want to make sure that we're constantly pushing others forward, and that when I'm running the ball, I'm running that ball as far as I can to drop it for the next person. We've talked about this in private. I want to keep running that ball for the next fat, loud Black girl. I want to, I want there to be a space for us here. And so my own personal experience has been, it's hella rad, and it's also hella sad. I enjoy being in these spaces, and I enjoy getting to be surrounded by you guys. Like, you guys are my peers, and I look at you guys and I'm like, hey, this is a really cool place to be. But then the overwhelming weight of whiteness in these spaces, and the overwhelming maleness in these spaces as well, can seem really fucking oppressive and discouraging at times. And when you see your peers see you doing well, the Blackness is the first thing they throw in your fucking face. Well, it's vogue to be Black now. People are paying attention to you because you're Black. You need to prepare. And I had my own very good friend say this to me. I want you guys to know that, I thought she was my very good friend. She was obviously not a very good friend, but she said, hey, next month, people aren't going to talk to you or care about you anymore. You know that, right? So you need to prepare for what's going to happen.
Their mouth and say that out loud. That's wild.
Said it to me in front of a bunch of people too, but said, hey, next month it's not going to be good for you. Nobody's going to care about what you have to say next month. So I hope you're prepared for how bad it's going to be for you when this is gone. What are you going to talk about when this is over? And well, it ain't over, bitch. So here we are. that's how. Y'all know I'm petty, so I don't give a fuck. Y'all know I'm petty as hell. I don't care. But yeah, this is how I feel about it. I feel like we have a lot of fucking work to do. And if you guys are going to make us keep doing the work and keep finding other Black folks for y'all to work with and keep doing stuff, then y'all should probably start paying people. That's how I feel about it.
There's definitely a part of the conversation that we need to have about that, for sure. Before I share thoughts, it would be remiss for me not to comment on the breaking news that we just had that Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He passed away from
He
cancer.
just passed.
That was the phone call when I was talking. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we just got the
Yep.
news. I see it in chat. I saw some blurbs on my phone.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Yeah.
He was 43. Sounds like it was colon cancer. I am devastated at hearing that information, and I don't know what to do with myself after hearing that. But rest in peace to him and
To the king.
The
king.
Condolences to his family right now, because way too young to be gone. I literally just had my 42nd birthday a couple days ago. So to hear that he passed away at the age of 43 is nuts.
And on Jackie Robinson Day.
Was it really? Oh shit.
Yes. Think about that.
Oh wow.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know how to transition from that in a real way. I will say, it has been a very weird year for all the obvious reasons. I share your sentiment a lot, Parris, about the guilt of success that goes along with what's happened this year. I had somebody tweet at me this year, or tweet at me a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know how to take this tweet. I know it wasn't done in malice, but I didn't know how to deal with it, where they said, yo, Kahlief is like one of the 3 people to have a good 2020. And I was like, yo, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to do, we are all chasing success in multiple different ways, right? Personal, professional, inside and outside of circles that we usually run in and skip around. And it has felt very difficult to be able to feel like a win is a win when you see so many other people hurting, and trying to figure out how to cope with those things. I'm trying to still figure out how to get in where I fit in all the ways that you usually do. But also this year has been really important to remember just how many folks are not getting what they need. And I feel like that to me has been a huge part of the conversation. I know Parris and I have had numerous conversations, on the side, and Zombae, we talk all the time too about just like, what's the next step? What can we do next to kind of push a thing forward, or try to get people in the room, or, pass the baton in a way that feels good and reasonable. Off the back of a lot of the conversations that we had right after George Floyd's passing, and then June again with the conversation that we saw in the gaming industry with the black background with the white letters, which now it's like there's 2 things that trigger me now in a real way. It's like seeing black letters on white, seeing white letters on a black piece of content, and then twit longer tweets. Like there's 2 things now that I see those things and I'm just like, oh, something's wrong. Something bad's about to happen. Yeah. And it's been really difficult to try to figure out what to do with that energy. I will say that there is something that was kind of profound in that way, and I'm wondering how you all feel about multiple conversations again around what is the space doing for our community, right? And I think I want to kind of go around the room and see, because I know what the scuttlebutt was around what I saw, and that scuttlebutt was, we all know this energy is going to go away. What are we going to do with that lack of energy? Or not, that wasn't even a part of the conversation. It was, yo, why aren't you doing shit? And then when you did some shit, are you going to continue to do shit? And we saw that energy, predictably go away. My question to y'all is, and I'm going to go around the room with this, is, how have you dealt with that part of the game? Because I feel like there are folks who are in the space who are fussing about things in ways that don't necessarily feel are impactful, and don't necessarily feel like they actually move the needle in real ways. But I feel like y'all are all really reasonable in the ways that you think about this stuff. Zombie, I'm curious about you especially, because you are the newbie of the crew, and you're a newbie of the crew, but you are definitely one of the most outspoken in the group. What are your thoughts about the energy conversation? Because I feel like there was one that was really important And I feel like there were angles to that conversation that we definitely missed. So I'm curious about your thoughts about that for sure.
I think it's fucking pointless. Honestly, I and that's just me being just 100% genuine with you. I just am going to continue to fucking make sure that people look and listen to the things that I talk about or what I think that are important. And I'm going to continue to surround myself that understand that the issues that I bring up and that I speak on about prison reform, about women, about intersectionality with things like I'm going to just keep being loud about them because focusing on how quiet other people are doesn't do shit. And we've seen that over and over again in our lives as people of color, as Black people. How many times have we fucking begged for them to give a shit about us? How many times have we tried to get in the rooms? How many times have we tried to get to the front of the fucking bus? How many times have we tried to do anything with these people? And we'll move the needle a little bit, but it's never going to be where people think it's going to be just by having these little it makes us look like we're complaining, and I feel like sometimes it creates a discourse around that that's unproductive, and I just want to be as productive as I can where I can be productive. If I can find somebody and I can help them, if I can enact real change in my community, if I can go feed people in my community, if I can do the things I need to do where I am, I'm going to focus on doing that. I'm not going to care about if white people drop off 10 fucking subs because they feel guilty to me on my goddamn chat. I don't give a fuck about your guilt money. It don't change my needle in my life. It doesn't do anything different for me. At the end of the day, complaining about if subs drop off on Twitch, because y'all aren't supporting me, just seems as entitled as the white people that we're complaining about. It seems so incredibly ungrateful. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm new here. Maybe it's because I just value things differently because of where I've been. This could all be gone tomorrow. I could not wake up tomorrow. And at the end of the day, I just want to make sure I'm doing what I feel like I really need to do. And I want to help people. I don't want to fucking sit around and bitch about fucking subs and shit on Twitter. I don't find the energy to be there. I got 3 damn kids. I'm tired. I'm homeschooling. We got coronavirus. I'm trying to, get my fucking hair done and get my groceries delivered and stay separate from all these dumbasses who won't wear masks. I can't complain about people not giving me shit because I'll kick down the fucking door and I'll take it. And you know me, and you know that's what I'll do. And I'll squeeze my fat ass through a window if I got to. But complaining about subs or support, just fuck them, take it, make them give it to you. Like just put yourself in the room. They're never going to open a door for you. And so I feel like it's useless. I'm sorry that I just ranted.
No. This is a place for catharsis tonight.
It just makes me frustrated. And the people that do it are always the ones who have like thousands of subs and they have all this love and they have all this shit, y'all. Y'all got so much shit. You don't even know what to do with the shit you have. So fucking blessed. I mean, we're so blessed. I'm so fucking blessed. I know how blessed I am off of Twitch, just in life. From where I've been, baby, I've been to prison. Any day I don't have to draw my eyebrows on with Sharpie and fight somebody for a meal, I'm happy.
That is perspective.
That's perspective.
that is perspective for sure. Cameron, what are your thoughts about the space conversation? Because that energy, again, was a thing that we all worried about from a lot of people worried about from a perspective that it was going to be gone, and we wind up all being right. I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So for me, because I don't know everyone's like follower count or by memorization or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure like I by far have like the least like Twitter followers, compared to everyone else here. So like with that in mind, like when I in between our first episode and now, I got a gig on Inside Gaming, and so did Blessing. And a big reason because of that is because people vouched for me. Like I put my name in the ring too. Like I was just like, yeah, like this is what I do. But so many people were just like, oh, you should get Cameron on. You should get Cameron on. You should get Cameron on. And, and then Autumn Farrell, who's the producer for Inside Gaming, shout out to her. She reached out to me and was like, hey, like, do you want to come on and stuff like that? And that's kind of like where I just feel my mentality is with this in general. Like I stream on Twitch and like my streams are just like, hey, I just want to sit down, chill, play video games, and chat. Like, that's what my streams are. That's what I want them to be. I don't want them to be anything more than that. And like, I want people to hang out, but I'm not going to like yell into the abyss to try and get people to join my streams. It's like, if you want to hang out, cool. And I do want to like better my stream quality. I do want to like make it more entertaining and enjoyable, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do something that I don't want to do. So like for me, when it comes to like the gaming space, it's like, it's really cool that we we all got all these opportunities. I just want to see something that is more permanent. Like I want it, like, like Blessing got to be like, is now a part of KF, which is awesome. Like we have some, like there's someone that like is daily Black person giving the news, just doing his thing, and that's awesome. And I want to see that more. Like I want to see a face, like a Black face on IGN. I want to see a Black face on GameSpot and like all these other big these big media outlets. But I also don't want them to get them I don't want those people to be hired specifically because they're Black. I want them I want them to be knowledgeable. I want them to know what they're doing, and then they just happen to be Black. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, and it shows that, we have room here. Like we have a place here. So that's just kind of where I'm at with things. Again, we see people like guest spot and stuff like that, but I just like want to see it in a more concrete, consistent environment.
Yeah. Bless, I'm really curious actually about that from your perspective, because I know you're the youngest cat in the crew. You're
am I?
By far.
I guess I am.
I mean, me.
I'm just showing.
I'm looking at Cam and Pikachulita. Cam, how old are you?
26.
Okay, so we're the same age because I'm 26 also.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I'm 26 too, so we're all the same age. Yeah.
Oh,
all right, when do y'all turn? When do y'all turn 27?
Kahlief.
I know.
We're all just old.
I turned 27 in July.
I
turned 27 in June.
I literally feel like when y'all all said that y'all were 26, that a fucking big cobweb just came out the sky from my ass.
So I turned 27 first. So Blessing is the youngest.
So I technically am the youngest. If we're counting months, I guess I'm the youngest.
Yeah. But my question to you was, you're on a fairly major outlet. There are outlets in this space that we think of when you think of big outlets, right? IGN, GameSpot, Game Informer, and I would say Kind of Funny is in that space where you think of like pretty big outlets that have a fair amount of reach. You have a very different layer of visibility now because you're on an outlet that I think the interesting part about KF right now is that people still really look at that outlet as a very white outlet. When you have Joey there, you have Andy there, you have
it's a conversation that I kind of struggle with a bit because like I feel like Kind of Funny is fairly diverse, but you do have the three founders that are three white dudes, and you do have like it's a weird thing. So like as part of Kind of Funny, right? I do take pride in the fact that I get to be on Kind of Funny Games Daily most of the week, and I do get to be on PS Love You, and I do get to be on all these different types of all these different shows that we have, and I do get to be very visible. With that, I think KF is also interesting because we have the ability to have on different guests, and of course that kind of comes with certain caveats of now that we're working from home. Like that then comes with, all right, we do have part-timers that we treat as part-timers, which means we have to keep them paid and hired because we're in a rough time of the year, right? We're in a rough year in general, which means that like, hey, yeah, like we'd love to have guests all the time, but at the same time we got to pay Imran or we got to pay like certain people because we got to make sure that they're good and they're taken care of. But like, yeah, for me, I guess overall in terms of me being in the space, right, in being Black and collaborating with other outlets, it's been an interesting thing because I have seen the drop off from in June, right, when we did the first episode where we were all together and did the lesson in Blackness, right, and we had that week where everybody wanted to collaborate and everybody wanted to do a fundraiser and everybody wanted to give visibility to Black folks. I was on so many shows that week that I had to take a day off, and I had to say no to multiple shows that I really like that I was either a fan of or really wanted to be on. Because at a certain point I was like, yo, I haven't had a chance to process everything that's going on here. Like I haven't had like a day off to like really like think about like, oh shit, things are real right now. I didn't have that. And then also, yeah, because that week was so crazy, I was on about 3 shows a day, which is taxing, right? That might not sound like that much, but like being on camera that often kind of does tire you out and take a toll on you. And so, ended up having to take that day off. But yeah, fast forward to now, I mean, a lot less collaboration going on, though there are certain people who will reach out. But it has been this interesting thing because for me, right, the thing that I want to see more of is intentionality when it comes to outlets wanting to either bring in diverse voices or just have inclusion in general, right? Like when it comes to that, not necessarily that being a once or twice a year thing, but a throughout the year thing or an intentional thing in terms of changing up your lineup, changing up the faces, changing up who gets a say in certain things. I think that is very important, and that is a thing that I'm still seeing that drop off in terms of that happening, right? Like I can give an example of an outlet that I did a Black History stream with them, right? And then I was back on during that week in June, and those are the only 2 times I've collaborated with them, right? Like I can think of different cases where that's a thing, and like, to kind of drive my point home, right? Like I just want to see, I want to see more collaboration on the level of kind of getting at what Cameron was saying a bit, right? Like it in a way that doesn't feel tokenizing and convenient for them, but in a way that feels purposeful and meaningful. And like, I mean, to even give it like a very direct example, right? Like that week in June, I had so kind of a back and forth, even though I don't know if I can call it back and forth because it was a 2-tweet exchange, but somebody in a position of power at like a very popular outlet, right, tweeted that, hey, yeah, we'd love to see more Black voices, or we'd love to hire more Black folks, but we don't see enough applications. Now it's kind of the excuse.
That's a fucking lie. I'm sorry.
And I saw that, and this is me, like, I don't want to like necessarily name names because I don't want to like send anybody after anybody. And like don't tweet at this person because I don't want anybody harassed.
Don't
right?
do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, please.
Be a good person. Leave people alone. But that was one of those things where I read that and it kind of pissed me off because it was one of those things where it's like, one, I'm one of the Black folks who have applied at that place multiple times, and plenty of other Black folks have applied to that place multiple times. And when you tweet that is then, and this is somebody who is in a position of hiring, right? They are in a position where they have the ability to at least be involved in those conversations. I don't know how much individual pull they have, but they are involved in those conversations. When Black folks read that tweet, right, and you're one of the ones that read that and was not interviewed or hired or considered, you then feel you then make those people feel invisible. You make those people feel like they don't exist.
Yep.
Right. And that is a problem. And so that's number one. Number two, that is a terrible excuse from a company that is very much filled with white faces, right, and white and white talent. And that's not to discredit. I know there are people of color and there are women there who do work that I don't want to discredit them because they do amazing work. Shout out to them. But historically, we're in an industry that is filled with white faces and male faces, right? And with that being the case, you cannot come out and be like, yeah, we're seeing mostly white applications, or we're not seeing enough applications from diverse people. Well, yeah, like when you have a cast that is mostly white, that is where you're going to attract. When you have a cast that is mostly male, that is where you're going to attract. You are not encouraging people of color. You're not encouraging different types of diverse folks to apply or to reach out or to feel like they have a chance, because we see what the reality is here. And so when you aren't taking the steps to make that happen, then it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing here? What is your complaint, when obviously the things that are wrong at your outlet are in your hands, right? Are on you to make better. And so like those are the types of things I want to continue to see, as far as that being fixed, and as far as, the conversation is going on beyond just excuses, and going beyond just, hey, yeah, let's get somebody to guest for this day, or get somebody to guest for Black History Month, or get somebody to guest for Pride Week, right? How do you have that consistency as far as having those diverse voices on, and on in not only a way that is like, oh yeah, by the way, we got this person here and they don't have us saying anything, in a way where it's like, no, this person has a voice, this person is able to really speak to things and really speak in a way that reflects who they are and their identity. For me, and Kind of Funny, I think that's the dope thing about our crew, is that Greg very much, and Tim and the whole crew very much encourages, like, I'm just gonna speak for me specifically because I know what our conversations are, right? Like, they very much encourage me being me. There's never been a time where I've been reached out regarding like a tweet I've made or me being too outspoken. Like, there are honestly times where I've hit up Greg and have been like, hey, is this cool to tweet? Because I know I'm going kind of ham here, and he's like, no man, like, go for it. You don't even have to ask. Like, he'll help me workshop tweets sometimes if I'm not even being spicy enough, right? Like, that is the kind of environment they curate, which I think is awesome, and that I kind of want to see more across the board as far as what these outlets are able to do and capable of.
Yeah. Pika, I want to go ahead, Cam. Add your part.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add on to that, in the sense of like, I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
I'll come back to you in it.
Yeah.
I mean, this Chadwick Boseman shit is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And like, it's messed up, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Messed up.
It's wild.
Like,
my brain is
I missed so much of the conversation because I was just fixated on how in the world did this happen. I just want to acknowledge that real quick, because that is crazy, right? Like, that is insane for somebody who is such a strong figure in the Black community, like a literal hero, like a literal literal might be the wrong word, but like a hero for so many people, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the man played Black Panther. The man had such an impact. I know I watched Black Panther in theater multiple times. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. He, as a Black hero, and as such an impactful Black hero, had such an impact on me, and I know so many nerds as a whole. That's crazy, and it's wild that I feel like for us as Black people, we see so much death, and it's strange, right? Like, that is so strange, because literally this last week I was thinking about Nipsey Hussle, who passed. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but like another like very prominent figure in the Black community. I was also thinking about Mac Miller, who I know is white, but is involved in was involved in Black culture, right? Was involved in hip hop, was a rapper, right? Like, he passed. There's so like Juice WRLD passed. So many people.
I was just talking about him.
So many influential Black folks and folks from Black culture have passed in ways that feel either abnormal, unnecessary, shocking, depressing, and I don't understand it, and it fucking blows me away.
I mean, the interesting part about you talking about that has been, and it's been on my mind, and I'm just going to shift to where we wind up getting to, is around that part of the conversation. And I feel like I am usually a person who can rationalize a lot of things out. I'm usually good enough where I can see multiple angles of a conversation and see multiple angles of reasoning and try to be nuanced about how things kind of lay. But like the Jacob Blake stuff that's happened in the past week, the thing that keeps rolling through my mind has been just how Black Death is so, it's so
trivial.
It's so trivial. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. Like, every time I see something happen and I do that one-to-one comparison, and I always have this thing that's in my mind where I say, I have never seen a white person go through this. Like, that's the thing that keeps running through my head, and that's the thing that's fucking me up. And that's the part that's bugging me, is I can see so many different scenarios of stuff, of actions, of encounters, of, here in Portland, we've had, numerous nights of protest, and we have all this kind of stuff that's been happening, and people have been asking me all the time, like, what do you think about the protests? And I'm just like, I feel bad for saying it and thinking it out loud, but I'm like, it's kind of nice to see white people get fucked up once or twice for doing something that means something that's supposed to be for us. And I feel bad saying it out loud. I feel bad for feeling it. And I feel bad for, you know, my humanity says that's a terrible thing to say. But it is one of those things where I'm just like, oh, so y'all gone through it for 62 days. Nice. How many decades, how many, you know, centuries, how many have we gone through that shit? And now y'all wilding out and freaking out because y'all went through it for 60 something days. I ain't mad. Keep pushing. Keep walking. Keep doing the stuff, because it's not going to be 62 days of just getting things done for you to actually make a maneuver and make something happen. It takes a long time. Parris, so you're about to jump in.
No, it's you're saying this, and you know, like John Lewis just died, and it takes me back. You know your history to the young people out there. Definitely know your history, and the reason being is what we're going through right now in 2020. My parents went through in the 1960s. And it was so strange. I got a quote, a Malcolm X quote, just without saying it was Malcolm X, and read it. And it 100% applied to this moment right now. And then it was like, oh no, Malcolm X said that back in 1961. And it was like, well, it shook me for a sec, because it tells me nothing's changed. And you know, not to make this too political, but this matters. Racism never went away in this country. It didn't. Barack Obama getting 8 years suppressed it. They weren't enabled to be as out there and as vocal as they have been the past 4 years. You know, when you have a leader say they're fine people on both sides, that was the match that just lit to everything that we're having right now, because it said, hey, racist white people, it's okay for you to call them nigger in public. They're not going to do anything. It's okay for you to beat the shit out of them if you're the police. They're not going to do nothing. It's okay for you to shoot them 7 times in the back. It's okay. Everything's okay. We can take it back to the good old days when he took the quote, the tweet where when the riots first popped off from that racist sheriff in South Florida, you know, when the looting begins, the shooting begins, or something like that. That was an old quote from the 60s. And that's the thing. It's like nothing's changing. And going back to what I said previously, I don't know what the solution is. It's like, you know, and she might get mad at me for saying this, but it's like my wife and I have had these conversations, and my wife is white. So we've had these conversations, and in our 25 years together, there's never been any type of racism, politics. No, we never talk about this ever. I swear to you, during this damn pandemic, this is all we talk about. And she gives me the perspective of her friends, where they can't wrap their head around why Black folks are so upset. They can't wrap their head around, well, what's the issue? Why you're all out there looting and all that? And it's like, no, we're not. I go, Black Lives Matter is not a terrorist group. It's not a radical group. It's a bunch of Black folks that are just saying, hey, stop killing us. I mean, it is literally that simple.
Not
stop
that
killing
hard.
us. You know, we want to trust the police. We want the police to be this symbol that our children can look to, but they can't. And I know it's not all of them, but it's enough of them that we can't trust them. We have to, as we talked on the last time, I had to give my son the talk. We got to go through the playbook. That routine traffic stop could be my last. I don't know. And again, it is, and I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's like, we're not changing. Where you see this world on fire right now, and it's sad, because I was just talking about this with my wife. It's sad that we had to go through a global pandemic for people to slow down enough to actually pay attention. George Floyd was not the first, and as we've already seen, he will not be the last. The police have been killing Black folks for centuries.
We said it on this show. Last time we said it, that it was another thing that we saw. And we've seen how many people since?
Yes. You know, Breonna Taylor, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Like you're saying, you know, Kai, it's now people are actually paying attention. People have been slowed down enough from their daily lives to actually pay attention to what's going on. And now everyone's outraged. Yeah. And look, I try to be a hopeful person. I try to look a positive outlook to things. I truly hope it is different this time. I truly hope, and again, me and my wife were just talking about this, I truly hope my kids 20 years from now, when they have their own kids, they're reading about this moment in time and going, really? That happened? Wow. I want them to be just flummoxed by it versus going, well, nothing's changed. I don't need my grandson on a podcast or whatever the hell they'll call it, then saying what I'm saying right now is my point. Something's got to change. And look, black folks are ready for it, clearly. I'm starting to think enough white folks are too. And that's the one thing that gives me hope in all of this, that I do think enough people are tired of this shit and they want change. So, and let me say one thing before I stop talking, because this is going back to the other conversation with gaming. Because I want to personally say this, because I want him to hear this from my lips.
Yes.
Shout out to Ryan McCaffrey at IGN. Because if there has been anybody in this gaming industry who has been sincere about doing things for people of color and trying to open doors for them and use his platform to uplift him, it is him. Because yes, he has directly helped me. He has given me opportunities within IGN and beyond that I would not have had if it wasn't for him. So yes, I do have a personal stake in this, but it ain't just me. He has consistently put people of color on his shows and given them a platform to shine. So when I think of people, other people of influence in this industry, look, Greg is obviously one of them, but when I think of other people in this industry, look to him. Look to Ryan, look to what he is doing. And that's all we're asking. We're not asking for freebies. All we're saying is give us a chance to let our talent show, and then we can do the rest. I mean, really, that's it. That's really it. And I'll say one last thing, and I'll be quiet.
You lied. You said you're going to say one last thing 4 times.
I know, but I'm a podcaster. I talk.
God damn, say 4 last things.
Hey, really one last thing. And Kai, you know who this is, but I won't say it publicly.
Yeah.
There is a person in a very high place in this industry that I have had a conversation about. What can we do to make this better? What can we do to help uplift? And we've had that conversation about exactly what I'm saying. Use your platform to spotlight people of color. That's it. That's really it. So trust me when I say there are people that would surprise you that genuinely want to help. We just need more of them. I mean, that's really all it comes down to, because like you said, after June, everything tanked to where we are now, and we need it. We need to re-energize this again.
Yeah. Pika, I want to go to you, because I think you have a very special lens that you look through a lot of this through, because of most of the folks in this room, you have the most time in the streamer spaces. In that version of the content creation spaces, and a lot of I was joking with Zave right before we got on the show tonight about the inner strife that we see within our own community, and especially in the streamer spaces, where it feels like you have two opposing forces, right? You have a lot of black folks in the space who are like, yo, why are we getting shit? And then you have the rest of the outside forces that are constantly doing what they aren't supposed to do. And it feels like there's this strife in between even our own spaces, where I was joking with her. I was like, it feels like that fucking one game of Fall Guys where you got to go through the wall and everybody hits the wall at the same time. It's like Negro Fall Guys for all of us. And we all trying to figure out how to get into that one fucking spot.
So bad. It's so
and we can't get through because there's no space. But I think what I've seen you talk about very specifically has been not only how to maneuver around that, because you've been doing a great job of getting in where you fit in, which I've appreciated. But is there anything that you're hearing from peers and from other folks about actually doing that collaborative work and actually building our own shit and actually trying to figure out good ways that we can, supplant some of that need to use those wider outlets as the kind of moving force to get us ahead? I'm curious about your thoughts on any conversations you've had in some of those ways too.
Well, I do want to I'm going to definitely answer your question, but I also want to touch base on what you had said before, because I'm kind of think with everybody else here that I've definitely, and I do apologize for kind of being distracted by obviously the news. to kind of add to that, it's just we do not have Black legends. I feel like come so few and far in between in the, I think, grand scope of the world. And whether it's singers or actors or whatever else, we don't get those sorts of people very often. And it's one of those things that obviously it's sad when these people pass away due to like natural causes, like just old age. I mean, it's already sad enough as it is, but then when you factor in someone who passes due to something like too early, and or some sort of sickness or some sort of accident, anything like that, or murder, it is 10 times worse than what it would be if it was just a simple, well, this person was 80, 90 years old and they had been here. So I think that's one reason why it's so like traumatic for us, because it seems like there's just so many people who we love and adore and who we idolize and we see as sort of like a role model and inspiration that gets taken from us, and it sucks. So I do apologize if I do seem a little bit distracted by that.
No,
because
it's
that's
totally reasonable for you to be distracted.
A huge, like, yeah, it's a big thing. And I just, in general, I don't deal with death very well. I've never been that type of person. That's just not me. But to answer your question, so obviously, kind of like you guys have said, there has been definitely the shift. We've seen the shift in after the George Floyd situation died down. I've talked about it very openly on Twitter about like the drop off. I've even experienced the drop off, where it's when at the height of all of this stuff happening, a lot of us were pulling, especially as like people, my mutuals, friends of mine, we were pulling anywhere between over 100 to 200 viewers per stream, and now we've kind of dropped back down to our regular numbers. And it's like, in a way, I'm grateful, because it's like that helped me get to partnership, which was so crazy, because when that happened, everybody was like, oh, I thought you were already partnered, or about time, Twitch has been using you in their promo for, however long. And yeah, that's true. I do agree. Long overdue. But, I definitely, we've all felt the drop off, all of it. And that's exactly why I, as appreciative as I was for, the things that the sort of recognition, or I guess the spotlight that was sort of placed upon me during this time, I knew it was coming. We all did. Mm-hmm. And, there's definitely people or entities or companies or whatever who have kept the same energy. And I'm very, appreciative of that. I mean, at the end of the day, I shouldn't necessarily applaud a dog for barking, but at the same time, I'm still appreciative. Not trying to be like ungrateful or anything like that, but it's just, it's what's deserved. I think that when it comes to sort of, because you kind of mentioned sort of like using this sort of stuff to our advantage, to where I guess like with people who are calling themselves allies, like how are we supposed to navigate that? And it's a sort of a mixed bag of feelings, because whereas part of me is like, okay, get in, I don't want to say get in where you fit in, but like take advantage of this shit, use it to your advantage, climb to the top and then push everybody off. A part of me says that, but then another part of me is like, no, I don't want this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the times it's not genuine. And thankfully, I think that a lot of us, I know, at least speaking for myself, I've kind of learned how to spot and sort of recognize what is, what is a good opportunity for me, and what is genuine, and what is sort of a good opportunity for me to use something to my advantage, as opposed to I'm not going to get anything from this and I'm probably just making you look better. I think I've kind of learned how to weed that sort of thing out. So I think as long as you know what you're getting from it, and if it's something that if it is beneficial for you, and you're going to get something from it that you want or need, by all means do it. Fuck it, do it. You know what I mean? It's like, unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. If it's something that's not going to benefit you and you're kind of just being used or sort of made to make somebody else look better, or it's sort of used as like a token or whatever, then don't do it, because at the end of the day, that sort of stuff is not worth it. But I do think, and like I said, I've been very happy to see the people around me, including myself, getting a lot of these opportunities and getting recognition, because it's well deserved. Again, I hate that it took that, like we were talking about the last time, I hate that that's what it took for people to fucking realize it, you know what I mean? And then kind of like what you had said, Ka, about like the protesting up there in the northwest, sorry. With people, white people kind of going through the same people that Black people have been going through for years. And like you said, it's like, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but it's like, oh, well, yeah, this shit has been happening to us for years. Now you kind of fucking see what it's like. Kind of like when you kind of, the sometimes when you hear in the news where some white person got, shot by police or killed by police unnecessarily, and it's like, obviously that's a problem. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not important. It's fucked up still, but it's like, damn, now you kind of see maybe there is a problem, you know what I mean? Now you kind of see what the fuck we've been experiencing for however long. And again, I'm happy that there's a lot of realizations and sort of epiphanies that people are having. And I do see change, but obviously there's got to be a lot more shit that needs to happen before I'm even remotely satisfied, because it's just one of those things that's like, not impressed. You know what I mean? Cool, great. Yeah. I'm appreciative. I'm thankful. But not impressed. I'm not going to sit here and I've seen people who were, they got followed by these like large name people on Twitch, and I'm like, I'm not about to thank these people for, like, I'm just gonna be blunt. I'm not about to sit here and thank a white man for following me and noticing me. I'm sorry, I'm not. That goes against that. Like, I would, people would laugh at me. I would laugh at myself. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that.
I want to talk about that really quick though, because that was the thing that I noticed. And again, this isn't one of those conversations where I'm throwing shade at people, because I don't want that to be the timber of that part of the conversation.
Right.
But what I found really frustrating about that, and I'm glad you talked about it, was, and it kind of goes back and reflects again about the conversation about needing our own shit, is that this need for validation from those folks feels so shitty, because it feels like, oh, my worth hinges on you needing to see me and being on your shit, when I'll be honest, the reason I love y'all so much is because I can call y'all up and be like, yo, I did that like an old person. Yo, I'm gonna call y'all up. But I can hit y'all. Hey, everybody,
with the rotary phone.
With the rotary phone, guys. Hey. But the thing I love about y'all is, like, I can be like, yo, come on, spawn on me. Let's have this real conversation about this shit. And y'all be like, yo, we down. Let's go. Let's roll. And it feels like there are other parts of our collective community that, instead of having those conversations on an outlet like this, will jet off to run off to somebody else's joint because of numbers or because of ability to feel like they have a spot that they don't. And Pika, you hit the nail on the head. It's like this weird layer of validation from the other feels kind of whack in that way. I see you,
Gross.
JG, in the chat. Don't play me. But I'm curious again. Like, continue your thought about that, because I feel like that is a huge part of the conversation that I feel like the collective community is constantly missing. Can continue your thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, and and again, to reiterate, this is not a means of throwing shade or anything like that, but it's a valid observation. Because there are a lot of, unfortunately, people within our own community who view their worth in whether or not they're validated or noticed by non-Black people. And that's just not me. That's just not me. I do not see my worth in that. That is nothing. My worth is not determined by that in the least bit. I see my worth, first of all, as just how I view myself. It's all dependent on myself. But then if anything, I look as to what I can do for my own people, my own community. And I'm not looking, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm advocating for, are not, I'm not trying to put myself or get into their spaces. I'm trying to make my own. And another thing, I mean, if we're going to be honest here, I'm, and this is the first time I've honestly talked about this publicly. Just going to be blunt here. The timing in which me and a lot of other Black content creators were all partnered at the same time
Oh shit.
did not sit right with me in the least bit. I'm gonna be that ruined, honestly. Like, I probably any other time would have been way more happy about being partnered. But when I finally got it, when I got it, I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was talking about it with my best friend, and we were having a serious conversation about it. But we were making like jokes about it, and we called it the Great Niggering, because because that's what it felt like it was. It was like
The blackening.
Yeah, it was like
The blackening.
right, the blackening.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's probably a little better. Sorry, but
oh shit!
it was very like, here, nigga, damn, like, you know what I mean? That's just what it felt like. Because and don't get me wrong, so many of those people I knew are mutuals. They're wonderful content creators, and they deserved that. They had been deserving it for a while. And I was very happy for them. I congratulated them. But I noticed it. And I noticed it even with myself. And I was like, and that's why it was like, honestly, like when I posted the screenshot of the little like letter that I got, I was like, I basically just left it because I wasn't finna be falling all over myself, because that's not how I felt. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so thankful, blah, blah, all this. I was just like, long overdue. Thanks to everybody who supported me. Love y'all. Like, I kind of just kept it succinct, because I didn't, want to make it seem like, oh, wow, you finally noticed me, kind of thing. Especially when I personally felt like it was long overdue. But in the midst of everything that was happening and just the timing of it all, the fact that almost in that like about 2-week period, that time period, it almost seemed like there was nothing but Black content creators getting partnered. That was the only people that I saw. That did not sit right with me. So when they finally gave me mine, because I applied for mine back in like June, they didn't get back to me for over a month. It was the end of July before they got back to me. And I was just sitting there like, this feels like, I don't want to say a fucking handout, but that's just what it felt. It was just like, I just felt like it was some sort of pity shit, or let's take like throw me a bone. Yeah. And let's take the heat off of us for this other shit that we've had going on, because we all know everything that was going on at the time.
Right.
It's just like, it seems like a move to sort of make themselves look better. And I don't like that. And so honestly, I did not have this big, because normally with my partnership, I would have had like some probably big partner celebration or whatever else. I didn't even do that because I didn't want to.
I did notice
and that's why
that.
I was just like, Yeah, and I feel like my community unfortunately was more excited than I was about it, because they were like, yeah, when we're gonna celebrate this and we're gonna do it. And I was just like, yeah, well, I love y'all, but you know, and it's and like I said, this is my first time saying it publicly, but and like JG saying in the chat, shout out to JG, by the way, that's I've been friends with him for years, and I was hoping, I was like, there's no way that we were the only two. It was me and my best friend Lord Balvin. I'm like, there's no way that we're the only two people noticing this shit.
Oh.
And I'm very glad that we were not the only two that noticed it, because it just did not sit right with me. But even that, it sucks now, because it's like we can't even, it's almost like it's been things that we should probably celebrate have now been ruined for us, because now we're looking at everything like what is your intent? Do you mean this? Is it genuine? Are you trying to perform damage control? Are you trying to make up for whatever, like, et cetera, and it really, really sucked. And I didn't want to rain on anybody's parade, especially because at the time when it first started happening, I had not yet been partnered. And obviously I'm like, I'm not trying to seem like a hater and anything like that, because that's by all means not me, because I want my people to win regardless. So, but especially even when I was saying it, even after it happened to me, I was especially saying it after it happened to me. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not, no. So I'm glad that I was able.
Yeah.
Yeah, go right ahead.
We all talked.
Parris, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll jump and say. I just want to say one thing on all of this. I 100% feel you on what you're saying as far as the partnership and how that works. It really comes back to, we don't want your pity on all of that, but we're in a position right now. If they're offering it, take it and then use that. Oh no, and I know you will, but my point is, with all of us, if we're getting these opportunities right now, you take them damn opportunities and you freaking run with it, and you use it to uplift the people behind us so they can get the same opportunities. If there's been one disappointment I have had with everything that's been going on the past few months, is people wanting to give all the opportunities basically to the same group of people, if that makes sense, right?
I want to chime in on that really quick and say that was my biggest gripe, because I did not, when all this stuff was happening at first, I kept being included on these lists, and I was like, this was the problem from the beginning, is that there was this set, like 10 Black people that people were acknowledging, and I don't want to be the next ushered in group of 10. Give attention to all the other people too. I didn't want that.
And because look, I don't know if you pay attention to my tweets or whatever, because every now and again I'll just rant, help Black creators, I'll always say, don't include me. Give it to somebody else, because it's not about me. It's not about the same group of people that already got the opportunity. We want all of us to get an opportunity, because it's not, you know, I always take it, it's the Morris Chestnut thing. Whenever you look at the Black movie from the 90s, there's always Gabrielle Union and Morris Chestnut. That's it, so right? Yes, I was so like, true. I'm pretty sure there's other Black actors out there. Why are we just seeing
Jamar
these two
Moore,
in every Black movie?
Oh,
like
God.
all them, like
But here's the thing. Go ahead, Zombie. Go ahead, Zombie.
Go on.
There's so many people that want to chime in on this, and I love it. Go ahead.
Know. Yeah.
I just want to say this as the new kid, right? Okay, so this is another new kid perspective, even though I'm, an old lady apparently. And I want to say this to everybody who's watching, because y'all already know, if you're in this little circle of cool people here, I'm 100% sure that every single person on this panel with me right here, all these lovely Black people, have spoke my name in a damn room where I wasn't there at some point in a positive way. I'm still not on all the cool people list, because I swear a fucking lot and I talk about shit that makes people uncomfortable, and I can dig it. I'm not for everybody, but I will say this: every single person here has spoke my name in a way that has uplifted me and allowed me to speak other people's names. And so even though I know that some people might look at Khan and be like, or Parris and be like, they get all the opportunities. Y'all motherfuckers are wrong. Those bitches fucking come after everybody else. They try to uplift people, so shut the fuck up. I'm telling you personally. I'm telling you personally. They're not selfish assholes like y'all want to think on the internet because y'all are bitter about everything else. These people speak people's names in a crowded room, and we're not around to hear it. And it's so damn kind and nice. And if there's anything I do before I leave this games industry in a blaze of fire, because I know I'm probably gonna burn this shit down on my way out, because we like it.
I mean, that I think that is. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. You want to finish?
No. Go, Blessing.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the difference between performance and being intentional comes in, right? Because to the point of the same 10 names being on the same list for every same outlet, right? I think that is a very big example of, hey, are you being performative or are you being intentional about how you reach out to people or how you look into things or how you research, right? And for me, at a certain point, like obviously, like for me as the person who's a part of Kind of Funny, that then puts me on this sort of spotlight in terms of, oh yeah, we need a black dude who's a host on a podcast. All right, cool, go get Blessing because obviously he's the one on Kind of Funny. And to the point of me talking about that week where I was on 3 podcasts a week, right? I did get to the point where the thing that I learned, and I learned this by talking to other folks, is that yeah, like the way to remedy that is to start recommending people, is to start doing what y'all are talking about, which is, hey, bring up other names, bring up the names that you realize people are not requesting enough, and that I think that is part of where intentionality comes in, but also to piggyback off of what Pikachulita was talking about, as far as all the black folks getting verified on Twitch at the same time, right? Or getting partnered on Twitch at the same time. I don't necessarily want this to be like a, hey, let's teach white people kind of thing, because I don't think that doesn't necessarily have to always fall on us, because that's kind of a burden that we're often given a lot of times, and it can be stressful and it can be inappropriate a lot of times. But I do want to ask you guys the question, like, where does that line fall as far as, all right, you're being performative, or versus, all right, you're being actually intentional about a thing and being purposeful about inclusion, using the Twitch thing as an example.
I want Cam to get in because he hasn't had a chance to go off yet. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, just kind of like talking about a lot of things. So because the main thing with me was, again, because just based off of the like the spaces that we were all in, like, Pikachulita and Zombie being in the streaming space, and then, the rest of us in the news space, podcast space, like, I feel like I'm kind of like the smallest person here, And so with that in mind, like,
not. You're not. You said that a couple of times.
Yeah, I've stood next to you. You're tall, man.
No, numbers and none of that shit matter. You're not.
Numbers ain't shit, boy. They ain't
I
shit.
know.
Cam, me and you came in together. I came over to Twitch with 0 followers because I talked to y'all and got hyped up on the juice of black people and decided I was gonna fucking throw it all away to come here, which was great because Mixer went down.
For sure.
Shout out to y'all.
Sure. What I'm trying to say is, like, after everything happened, and like, I saw that Kahlief and Parris, you guys got like hookups with PlayStation, and then like I see that Parris gets stuff from Xbox all the time, and then Pikachulita and Zombie get stuff from Logitech all the time. Like, and like I'm just like not, and like, I don't have, like, I'm not getting anything in the mail, and it's not like I'm not saying like I'm going for that stuff, but it's just also like I wish I was, but like it's in the sense of
it's okay.
No. I'm being honest about it, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't want those opportunities to, and I know Parris kind of spoke on this to just take it, but like, I don't want those opportunities to come to me specifically because I'm black. Like, I don't want it. I want it to be like, I like you for who you are. Being black is just a part of who you are. So that's kind of like how I feel about it, about that stuff. So when it comes to kind of the the inclusion and when you're saying about like, we keep seeing the same black people on like all the different media outlets. Like, I think there were 2 or 3 black people that one week that I just, that I happened to not hear of before. One of them was a writer and the other 2 were streamers. Mm-hmm. And then outside of that, like, I see the 6 of us here and Rihanna from What's Good Games. Those are like the same 6 people I see on all the new stuff.
Yep.
And just in my opinion, and from where I'm standing, because I know that, like, you know, this might be an unpopular opinion across the panel. Like, I feel like I'm still on the come up, you know, and I think we all feel that in some sense. But I just feel like I'm on the come up still. Like, I'm not where I want to be, and nowhere near. And in the sense where, you know, I think about those things where it's like, man, I really want to recommend like this Black person that I know that's great, but that's taking that opportunity away from me, and I still have so much farther to go, you know. And so but it is one of those things where it's just like there are more Black people. Like, I'm not gonna get mad if like I see another person, like another Black person, get an opportunity and be like, fuck yeah, let's go. But also, like, when I'm given those opportunities, even though I know that I get them more than other Black people in this space, I still like feel it, I feel conflicted, because like I want to pass this on to someone else, but I just can't. Like, that's just how the reality is as a Black person in this space.
I'm going to jump in there in a second, Cameron, because I know I still go through that feeling, and again, like, I think if there are people there are layers of the sandwich, right? And I think there's a lot of people who will be like, you know, who are the folks who are getting all the stuff? And Parris and I have chuckled behind scenes of being like, we hear the murmurs and the conversations about, like, yo, Parris and Ka get all the shit. We've heard those rumors and we've heard those things in the ether, right? So I see you out in the chat anyway. Not in the chat, on Twitter. But to you, Cam, this is the thing that I find I'm frustrated with. And this is not for you. This is not an indictment of you.
For sure.
I know you. I know your work. You are fucking brilliant at what you do. You are very good at what you do. I remember we had this conversation when I first got to chill with you at E3 that first year. And I will constantly put your name in stuff, even if you don't know it. So that's the thing. I mean, I tell you that I put your name in for things.
Oh, okay.
But here's the other part of this conversation, because I have felt that feeling too. One of the things that I find frustrating is you do have, and this is a shitty way to say this. You do have elder statespeople in the gaming industry. I will put myself in that group. I will put Parris in that group. I will put 100%. Shut up, Parris. Not because you're old, but just because you have time in. And one of the things that I remember very specifically when I had the conversation, and I was saying this out loud on the internet, because a young cat hit me up who I didn't know as well as I know you, Cam. And he said, yo, you know, he was upset and frustrated. He was like, man, we're not getting any love. We're not getting the opportunities that we need to on Twitch, and they keep tokenizing us and keep doing this stuff. And I hit him up in his DMs. I went to his DMs and was like, yo, fam, whatever clout, I'm air quoting clout, whatever air quote clout I have, tell me what you need and I will get you in the room with the people that you need. And I didn't hear shit from that cat ever since. I tell people all the time, there's not enough room for everybody. But the people who are in the room, we want you in the room. We never don't want you in the room. There is that struggle between, like, can I get mine off or can I pass this on to somebody else? Bless talked about it when he was like, yo, I got to do 3 shows in a week and blah, blah, blah. I did 2 shows this morning and then we're doing the show tonight. Like, I understand that frustration of trying to figure out that balance between, like, I ain't there yet and I want to get there and other people in that spot. There is a balance between feeling that way, having that hustle spirit, which I know you have, and being like, yo, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to ask. Because I don't know. Like, I can put that word out for you or for whoever it may be and be like, yo, I'll put that word in for you. And I know you will take that ball and run with it. But there are times when some people just don't know. Right? So it's up to the people who are in that position, because I've been in that position. The people who have been in that position where they don't feel like they're there yet, to absolutely be like, yo, I see you. We have a connection. I will ask you for what I need. That is the biggest thing that I've told anybody in this space is like, yo, I can't read your mind and I can't tell you what to do, but I can give you the work that I've put in to get to where I'm at. I can get you to where you need to be because I have those connections and I'm willing to not hoard them. Go ahead, Parris, real quick.
All I wanted to add into that was, yes, I am an elder statement because I've been at this shit since 2006.
Right.
2006. I've been doing this. And only now do I feel like I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor, really towards the end of me even realistically being able to do this. I ain't going to be 60 years old talking about, hey, come look at Halo 12. So it does take time. You know what I mean? It does take time, and it does take a lot of patience. It does take a lot of hustling. It does take a lot of knocking on doors. It takes sometimes kicking down a door to be able to get an opportunity. I would just say to all my fellow brothers and sisters out there, we got to do this shit together.
Yep.
It's, like you mentioned before about, yes, I've heard the rumblings about Kahlief and Parris gets all the opportunities. It's not true.
It's not true.
Yes, it is definitely not true.
It's not true.
But it honestly, like being honest for a second, it bums me out to hear that. It really does, because in my heart, I know I've never intentionally blown off someone or not try to give advice or not try to basically give the hookup or whatever the case may be. And like you're saying, Cam, we all trying to eat. We're all trying to eat. So being honest, no one's going to starve themselves to feed someone else. They're going to try and make sure they're getting an opportunity, but they want to help someone else at the same time. So there's definitely this balance here. But I just think, again, as Black people in this whole gaming space, content creation, whatever the hell you want to call it, we got to stop fighting with each other. That's the main thing that I see. We spend way too much fucking time worrying about what the next person is doing and trying to bring them down. Like a good friend, shout out to Tony Polanco. He called it like crabs in a barrel. One crab is starting to get out the barrel. The other one's going to drag his ass right back in. Instead, that crab is getting out. He should be pulling the rest of them out so they all can get out. That's where we got to get to in a headspace. We got to stop blaming white people. We got to stop blaming each other. We got to put in the work and help each other. That's what we got to do. And that, if anything, is the most frustrating thing I see throughout this gaming space. Well, like, we already don't get enough opportunities as it is. And then when one of us does get an opportunity, we're all shitting on them. We're all hating on them for it. Instead, you should be applauding that and celebrating that. So then that person is going to want to bring you along with them. That's what we need to be doing.
Here's a quick thing I want to go ahead. Go ahead,
I just wanted to clarify, like, I wasn't trying to be antagonistic about you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
okay,
not. Absolutely not.
I just didn't know. I didn't know for certain. I was like, no, like, go off. Like, I'm like, yes, like, I'm happy. I just wanted myself to get to that point. You know what I mean? That's what I was trying to say. And I love you all.
And we want you to get to that point.
We want you there.
Yeah, we
that was basically everybody's way of saying, like, because I was actually going to chime in on that and say, like, I mean, probably don't have that many connections, but if it's one of those things, if I mean, even if it's like somebody that I don't really like, I mean, granted, I don't know Cam like that, like, like the back of my hand or anything like that. But, even if it's somebody who doesn't necessarily have like my phone number, or it could be somebody who just follows me on Twitter, like, and, because I had a friend of mine a new friend of mine, actually, we ended up playing we did the Hyperscape Twitch Rivals together. And we played together for the first time. And because I DM'd her because we needed a third. And I'm like, hey, you want to join us with this? Blah, blah. We had a good time. And I'm like, I made a new friend today. And yeah, Bliss Kai, like JG knows her. And she ended up like DMing me later and was kind of asking me about like some sort of advice just with like content creation and stuff. And I'm sure it's from like a black woman perspective there. Because obviously I'm sure there's plenty of other people that she could ask, but probably not a lot of black women that she could ask. So, and yeah, JG, she's great. She's great. And like, but I say that to say, if there's anything in particular that I can help anybody like with, I totally don't mind. Cause I'm not one of those people like, oh, you want some advice? Just like when people come into my stream.
I mean, I hit you up. I hit you up. Remember? Like, when we first started, I was like,
absolutely.
I hit her up and I was like, hey girl, is Logitech really down with black folks? I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I literally was like, is Logitech really down with black folks? Should we really fuck with them heavy? And she was like, no, for real. And she just, we sat there, we talked a little bit in the DMs, And then I bounced over to Ka and was like, Ka, what do you think? And he's like, talk to him. And I was like, I'm a baby streamer with 400 followers. He's like, all you gotta do is shoot your shot. I slid in the DMs. I was like, hey, bro. Yeah, and I slid in their DMs, Cameron, with 400 followers and a foul mouth, and they still took me on. And when I got in that meeting,
what did they say?
He told me, Zombie? He straight up told me, because he said, well, hey, what would you like in your partnership from Logitech? And he said you were on my list of people to talk to. I was going to talk to you at some point too. I'm really glad you reached out to me. He said, we saw you on Spawn on Me when you said Logitech probably won't call you for the headphones, which was embarrassing.
That's great.
That's great.
Shout out to that.
That's perfect.
And he said, so we definitely wanted to call you for the headphones and anything else you might need. And I was like, okay, so how does this work? And I'm just going to demystify this for all y'all in chat.
Sorry to interrupt
I feel
you.
like this is important.
Logitech might not call me for the what else Logitech put out? Do you have chairs? Logitech have chairs?
No,
they do have chairs.
They're not going to call you for the chair.
Logitech won't call me for the damn chair that I'm in the market in right now because I'm moving. I'm going to need a new chair. Sorry, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, yeah, say it, Blessing. Go ahead.
I love you.
I'll rub my juice on it. It's good. But here,
thank you.
So like we got in the room, we were talking in Discord. And he's like, well, what would you like to see? And I was like, honestly? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't fucking know what to ask you guys for. I'm new here and I don't know what kind of things I'm even able to like bring to the table. I've never done this. I'm a new streamer and I don't know what's fair or what I should say. And he was like, tell me what your setup is and let me tell you what you need. And he was so kind and didn't like try to like shill me or like, blow me off or only offer me like one thing just to like keep me happy. He just literally sat there and worked with me with all my setup and how to optimize my stuff the best and spent an hour and a half with me in Discord just laughing and listening to me swear a ton. And if there's anything I got from that after that was when I just decided I was going to start shooting my shot, Cam. And I just said, fuck it. If people don't like me, and they're not everybody's gonna like me, y'all, because I say a lot of crazy shit, but I started realizing that what's it gonna hurt if I knock on a door? And I'm still not on any PR list for games, and I'm still not like.
But
you're about to be on a lot.
But here's
just start naming brand names, please. Just start naming brand names.
But here's
but I'm saying I was blessed. I was blessed,
good?
And I was blessed because of every single one of you guys. I'm not gonna cry or nothing.
Yeah,
but I just want you to know you're amazing and you could take a shot. You are such a smart, kind person. I've hung out with you in your streams. You know this. I DM'd you about your dad. Like I want to see you fucking shine, dude, because I want to. And I was in Logitech, by the way. I was in one meeting before I brought on somebody else into Logitech and said, you need to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I was in one meeting before I brought in another person. He's in the chat right now, Kareem Cheese. I said, y'all need to talk to him. He's black, wonderful, excellence. He's starting to shine. Help him out. I'm not afraid to ask for me or for somebody else because I believe, and this, y'all don't have to agree with me or whatever, that there is always going to be something for me that nobody else can take from me. And I don't think that there's... and crabs aren't meant to be in a goddamn barrel. That's not our natural environment in the first place.
That's why they try to get out.
Yeah.
That's why they're trying to get out. But just help other people. But if you need some shit, Cam, you better fucking DM me. And if I can help you in any way by being loud and annoying, I will.
Yeah, Cam, real fast. Yeah, Cam, real quick.
I was just gonna say, like, no, I totally get about shooting your shot because, like, the reason, like, how I got to where I am now, you're gonna be like, oh, you're talented, like that's fine. I appreciate the compliments, but like how I got to where I am right now is primarily based on shooting my shot and being lucky. You know what I mean? Like that, and so that's just like. I understand that for sure.
Well, go ahead, Bless.
This brings up two things for me, right? And like these are kind of been my takeaways from the last like 30 to 40 minutes of conversation. Is knowing your worth, which is I think a thing that is very important for us, and then also community. I think both those things have kept me very much sane and confident within the last. I'm gonna say few months as I've been kind of growing over the last. I'm gonna say over the last 8 months of working at Kind of Funny and being in the industry. Like those two things have kept me afloat because to the know your worth thing, right? I'm looking at the other 5 people that are in the chat with me, right? And each and every one of you, I think, there's something for me that I look at and I admire in terms of how you perform, or in terms of how you operate, or in terms of what you do, right? Kahlief, from the Reebok sponsorship that y'all got very recently, or that y'all revealed very recently, right? Like,
Hell
that
yeah.
that is not a thing that occurs without knowing your worth, and without shooting your shot, and without
100%.
being
yeah.
intentional, and without like knowing how talented you are, right? Like, Zombae, you're here because you're talented. You're here because you're a talented streamer. You're here because you're intelligent. You're here because you're well spoken. You're here because you have shit to say. You know, and I can go around the table and say things about all y'all, but like, y'all are talented and y'all are very good at what you do. And again, that comes with knowing your worth. When we talk about tokenizing going on in the industry, right? And we talk about the list of 5 to 10 names that get circulated because those are the only black folks that these outlets know of, because they don't know how to do the research, or they don't know how to look into things, right? or they don't know how to, you know, they don't know the variety that exists there. When we talk about when we talk about community, right? Like, I look at folks like Emmett Hawkins Jr., who's been the homie for a while,
absolutely. Shout out to him.
who is talented
Love
and who
that
doesn't get enough shine, who doesn't get
100%.
enough shout outs. I look at my homie Gabe Patillo from Married to the Games, who is probably one of the best podcast hosts I know, who is very talented at what he does, who kills it on Married to the Games every single week. I look at him. I look at so many other folks that do not get the spotlight and do not get the amount of opportunities. One, because it's a small industry. There are only so many spots, and that is across the board, right? That is not just for people of color, and that is not just for marginalized folks. Across the board, there's a limited amount of spaces in the industry. But for us, like, that pool is even way smaller, right?
Yep.
The amount of spotlights and the amount of seats that are available are way smaller. Everybody's still talented. Like, there are way more talented people. There are way more talented people of color. There are way more talented black people than there are spots in this industry, and that is a fact. And so I'm going to say that just to say that y'all should never feel ashamed or unworthy or undeserving of any spot that is given to you, because you do deserve those spots. That is first and foremost. And then secondly, right, community will keep you sane. Like, having folks, having other folks in a similar situation to talk to you, having this group right here to talk to you, right, makes me feel reaffirmed and confident, right? But then also having my friends, having folks like Rihanna and folks like Yusef and Belinda and people that come in mind that I'm able to talk to and I'm able to vent to, and I'm able to have this back and forth to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're seeing what each other are seeing, and that, you know, I'm not crazy for making an observation that, you know, maybe white folks in the industry aren't making, right? Like, having that sense of community is important. And we'll keep and doesn't only keep you afloat, but also, we're able to grant each other opportunities. We're able to refer each other. We're able to keep our ear to the ground in the way that white folks, or in the way that people, so much of the time, people in places of influence aren't able to keep their ear to the ground, right? A lot of that, and it's unfair. It is unfair to us, but a lot of that does fall on us to make those things happen, right? To make those references to people that people are not looking at, to talk about your Emmets, to talk about people like Gabe Patillo, even though Gabe Patillo is killing it, and I know his podcast is killing it, to talk about each other, right? Like, that does kind of fall on us at that point. And so, I just want to make those points based on everything we just said.
I got a couple of things to share about that, and I think that's a brilliant point that both you, Cam, and Zombae all shared. I think there's a couple of things I want to share real fast. Because a lot of things in my mind right now. Other folks in that space that I think of also, like Ray Apollo, is amazing. I think Uriah is one of the best, most talented cats in this industry who deserves more of a shot.
Odell
is fucking brilliant. The Game Fanatics, they are constantly like, when I think of Charles and the rest of
AJ McRae from
like
Fanatics 4. Oh my god.
Like, but when I think about that, and I think about those folks, there is a part of that conversation as well that is around culture, right? And I think when it comes to our culture, when it comes to Black culture, when it comes to POC culture especially, we are a cosign culture. And the reason I say that is, when you think about, and this is the analogy I usually use, is when you go to a party and you got brought there and it's a white person's party. It's like mad white people in the party, right? There's a question that you usually get asked when you get into that room. When somebody introduces you, they're like, so what do you do? right? When you go to a black person's party, you go to a party where there's brown folks all around. They're like, yo, who'd you come with? It's a different question because the ask is different. The question at first from a white person's party is like, what worth do you bring to this room? That question that gets asked for you when it's around brown people is, who's the person who brought you? If it's a person I know, you are already good. You've already been co-signed. And that cosign is very important because it is a thing that you then can pass along. It's a thing that you can then share. It's a thing that you can then, because it's that idea around worth that is absolutely there, and it's always been there. And it's the thing that, again, if you're in those circles where you can make that maneuver, and I hear this conversation happen a lot when I've had someone at some point actually hit me up and say, because this goes to your point, Cam, of Kai's always tweeting about shit, like always like, yo, be on the show, or oh, yo, always say this thing, or oh, yo, always signaling up that he, and then your parish, but
tell him what I say to you privately about that very thing, because I think that's relevant. I say this to you every time.
Oh, if my black ass don't do it, somebody else gonna do it? Which one?
Yeah, because every time you tweet that, I'll side text him, Michael, man, look at you.
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at you.
Oh, yeah.
Got your leg out there. Yeah.
The running joke between Parris and I is like, you got your leg out on the corner. And I'm like, yo, that shit, I'm like, yo, that shit,
That's so good.
that shit is shined up with baby oil and is looking real nice. Them calves is looking real sexy on the street.
Oh my God.
And the reason I say that is, for the folks who I've been lucky enough to have enough people say to me that they look up to what I've been able to do in the small time I've been in the industry. I've seen people say it to you, Parris. I've seen people say it to even to you, Bless, because I remember we've had conversations where you were OK Beast, and I was like, yo, I look up to the shit that you were doing when you were at OK Beast, and literally reached out to you and was like, yo, I love what you did in that particular thing, in that video, or whatever. And I was like, you are the future of what I see, what I want to do as a person who's like 20 years your senior, right? And I think that's a part of the conversation, is like, we are in a very, very saturated market. Every good thing that has come to me in this space is because I have been loud and proud and had a big fucking mouth about doing that shit. And it's because you have to. Yep. You have to be loud. You have to signal up that yo motherfuckers, I'm here. Yep. See me.
Oh, bitch, I'm gonna be okay then.
Yo, you gonna be
that's
fine.
That's how I make you believe.
But that's what I'm saying though. It's like, again, this conversation around co-signage and co-signing, and we don't have a space to be quiet in any of these spaces, because we see that the same people who we talked about it with Pika's conversation about, like, who are the people who are in a space, and do we need that validation from those other people? We don't need that validation from those other folks. We can do this shit on our own. It may not be in the biggest way that they are doing it, but it does not mean that we can't leverage the power that we have in the space to do the work that we want to do at a different layer and a different level. We see it happen all the time with culture vulturism, where people come in at the ass end of us doing dope shit when we've been doing it for decades. We know, and it's the reason why it's in our opener for every show. When I say we are the culture, I mean that. I say that from my fucking chest because I know it's true. We see it happen all the time. I see that happen in outlets like Gaming Illuminati. Like JG is one of those cats too, where like I see him in chat. Those cats, I look up to those cats because they are hustling their asses off all the time, right? And again, it's like the idea that we can't do this on our own is fake. It's not real. We literally just have to stop fighting each other to do it and get it done. We literally just have to stop fighting, and we literally have to start helping. We have to start doing that work.
Can I jump on that to say this? Because you're and I, our relationship, Kai and I's relationship specifically, I remember, God, what was that, 2014, whenever that was, hearing about Spawn on Me on a gaming forum. And I remember deciding to check it out. And I'm like, those guys are pretty dope. And then I forget what it was that connected us initially, but we were Twitter friends, and we go back and forth on stuff. And then it was whatever E3 that was, we actually met face to face, and it just became a brotherhood from that point. And it was exactly what you're talking about. Instead of, oh, spawn on me. Oh shit, that's a competition. I can't mess with him. It was like, no. Hey, this person is doing this over here. I got this contact here. Here's the email address. Hit them up, blah, 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 and vice versa. So it's like, it's a brotherhood. It's a collaboration. It's working together. It's not a competition. And I think that's the biggest thing people need to understand out here. We're not competing with each other. Yes, it is a crowded space. Yes, we're not going to all eat at the same time. But that hookup I might have gotten caught today could be reciprocated to me 6 months down the road, and vice versa. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to stop thinking that we all got to fight over this the same piece of chicken or whatever you want to say, right?
I got to be chicken, Parris.
And I said that. I
gotta be chicken.
Hey,
Damn,
hey,
Listen, I love chicken like the next guy, but like you got to chill.
I'm just happy you were like, we all drinking out the same jug of Kool-Aid. I'm just happy.
Oh my
with no
god!
sugar. But you get my point. We just got to. We have to work together in this space. That's the only way. We can all succeed. It's not about just one person. It's all of us. We all need to succeed together. And like Zombae was joking around, she's being super loud. Look, I think next to Kai, I'm probably the next loudest person on Twitter because I'm constantly talking about the things that interest me that I want an opportunity towards. This chair behind me is because I talk about that goddamn game all the time. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. I'm showing my interest. I'm showing my passion because if I don't say anything, how's anyone going to know? I can't wait for a handout. I got to go get it.
Yep.
And that's
closed mouths don't get fed.
That's it.
Exactly. So that's all I want to say.
Well, we're going to get up out of here. I feel like we didn't even get a real chance to talk about Jacob. I'm not Jacob. Jacob Blake.
Chadwick, Jacob.
Yeah, I know all that. Oh my God.
Chadwick kind of came in heavy on us.
Chadwick was real heavy.
I think that we should do a part 3 to kind of, because like y'all said, we kind of got thrown a curveball there, and I would like to come back and maybe, hopefully the day in which that happens, it won't be more bad news.
Yeah. One of the things that I would love for us to focus on, and this is your homework, is again, we talk a lot about, and because the space lends towards it, is a lot of the conversations that we've had over the past 2 shows have been around the problems that we see in the space, about the energy that we see both internally and externally in our community. I think a thing that I would like to focus on for the next show is I want to dig into some more solutions, because I think that there are things on the table that we don't get a chance to actually talk about because we are focused on some of those things, and those things are the feelings of the moment. And I feel a thing that touched me a lot tonight was Cam talking about his experiences in the space, which I think is a thing that all of us at this point have enough advice, have enough experiences, have enough wherewithal to have done that stuff. Like when I think about all of us in different ways, like Gamertag Radio didn't really pop off until year 10, right? Right. Which is nuts to think about.
Yeah.
Bless was doing stuff over at OK Beast for a while, but their stuff didn't pop off for like another 2 or 3 years when they got into the move. Pika, you've been streaming for how long now?
Almost 6. It'll be 6 years in like a couple weeks.
That's crazy. And you got partnered in your 6th year, right?
Yes.
So I think that there's a part of this conversation here that we can impart actual really good strategies and knowledge, because the conversation usually happens where, again, people say a lot of shit about, yo, why don't you hit me up to go do a thing? And then when I'm like, yo, hit me up in my DMs, it's crickets. So maybe we can do and have that conversation here in a way where we can have that conversation and bring those pieces of the information for the industry and also our community to kind of come to bear with. Because I think I am personally tired about talking about issues and want to talk about more solutions, because I think we're at that point where we can do that work because we've been in it for long enough. And we're all talented as fuck in this room.
I want to be fucking blunt. I want to be honest, and I feel like I can do that here.
You can absolutely do that here. And again, like your tweet about the murderer is the reason that we sparked this show, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it today, but I'll say this before we get up out of here, and if people want to chime in afterwards, that's fine. I am so frustrated with the way that our country works. I'm so frustrated in the fact that we continue to coddle murderers, and we continue to sanitize murderers. We continue to sanitize racists. We continue to sanitize all these people who can do everything wrong, and people will find that nugget of supposed good that was in them where we don't even get the benefit of half the benefit of a doubt. And that to me is the thing that when I go to bed fucks with me. That's the thing that when I walk in the street, and this year has been especially difficult in terms of feeling confined, in terms of feeling in a box, in terms of feeling like every time we get a step forward, we have 2 steps back. When it comes to the NBA shit that happened a day ago, where everybody stepped off the court, did what they needed to do, and then today there's contrition and no one wants to actually stop doing the thing that they just did the day before, where they're going to go back and play when they could have stayed their asses off the court and fucking did the thing they were supposed to do. So next time that we have this show, maybe we'll be in another 3 months or so, because we got to give ourselves space to breathe and space to not be mad and space to not be all that way. We will come back with more treasure for everybody to absorb and to use and to think about. So I want to say again, Cam, Parris, Pika, Bless, Zombae, I love y'all. You continue to do this work. You continue to be people I look up to in this space. You continue to push forward. You continue to do the work. And as a person who is trying to be in that space with y'all as much as I can, I love y'all. Y'all keep pushing everything forward, and it's really good to see that work happen. Anybody have any last words to say before we dip out of here?
Just want to say that I love y'all, and y'all are wonderful. And like I said, if you guys need you have any questions about anything that that you see me doing or being involved in, or want some advice or want help, or maybe want some sort of recommendation of something, or figuring out how to get in wherever, feel free to hit me up. I totally don't mind. I got you. Take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. And I love y'all. And y'all just let me know whenever you guys are down to talk again. Because, I mean, for me, it doesn't even need to be 3 months. I mean, I definitely think we need some space to, to breathe in the midst of everything going on. But just say the word pretty much and I'm there.
Word. Same here.
One thing before we go, I do have to share this out again. We're in the biggest election season of our time. I will absolutely say that. I think, again, other shows are like, don't be political. Fuck that shit. We talk about that here on the show. One of the things that I'm looking for folks to join us in, myself and Sterling McGarvey, who is an industry veteran, we're going to be doing our next Spawn for Good. Our next Spawn for Good is going to be happening on September 19th and 20th. Please hit us up and DM us for information. We want to have people stream with us. We're looking for folks to for giveaways, game giveaways, equipment giveaways, all that kind of stuff. But we're looking for people to stream for Vote Writers, which is an organization that does the work of helping people get their IDs in a world where voter disenfranchisement is huge. We see all the conversations with the Postal Service, Trump being a fuck nose and doing all this dumb shit that he's doing. We have to figure out ways to work around this and use our political power, our gaming community's power to do that work. So I implore people to hit us up on Twitter. We'll actually have a sign up sheet, a Google form to put out soon for that kind of stuff. So again, everybody, thank you so much for coming and rocking with us for the Spawn on Me podcast. Much love to you all. Rest in peace to Chadwick, and condolences to his family. We will all see you on the internet. We will see you here next week with more dope stuff, and we'll see you soon. Much love. Peace.